What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday. Very exciting day still, in my opinion. We are seeing a bit of a pullback in Bitcoin. I am going to be talking to you guys today about some hidden chart patterns you have to see for altcoins that indicates altcoins are still in good shape based on the charts. Going to be talking about Bitcoin, why I'm still very bullish on Bitcoin, and that this drop here doesn't really affect my opinion. Of course, if you guys are new to this channel, okay, make sure to actually like, subscribe, and comment, because I dive deep into the charts every day to find the moves before they happen, because that's a lot less riskier than actually chasing pumping green candles. If you guys ever chased pumping green candles, let me know how that worked out. From personal experience, that is not a very good idea, and I've had my share of pain chasing pumping green candles. So that's why here we find the moves before they actually happen, and that's a lot less riskier. Now, if you guys do have any technical analysis requests, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. I do see a subscriber with a technical analysis request. With quite a few requests, I can only pick one per day. I have to give everyone a chance, and I am limited by time here. So I can do one technical analysis request from the subscriber, and I'm going to be doing Moonwell later in this video, so make sure to be staying around for that. I will also be doing charts on Fetch.AI, which is FETUSD, and Kaspa, and find what could potentially be happening in these markets, and if there are any moves that we can find before they happen. So make sure to be staying to the end of this video for that. Now let's go ahead and dive right into Bitcoin here. Why am I still bullish on Bitcoin even after last night's drop? Okay, we had a pretty steep drop here, as you guys can see, that occurred over the weekend. And the chart has been, we have been seeing falling wedges, right? Falling wedges usually break to the upside. And I've charted it falling wedges here. However, it broke out of it, as it usually does, but it just falls back right into the pattern. That is something to be aware of as well, because even if price action can break out of a pattern, it can still break back into the pattern. Nothing in this market is a given, okay? Have a risk management plan for success scenarios, okay? Like if the breakout is successful, right? Plan to take profits. If the breakout is not successful, actually breaks back into the pattern, that could happen as well. Make sure to have a plan for that as well. And of course, if it actually doesn't even break out of the pattern, that could also happen, right? Now, what I'm seeing here is quite a bit of reversal patterns, and this is the hourly time frame. And I think the hourly time frame is still very important here, because this downtrend is still a pretty short-term trend as of right now. Okay, and on this hourly time frame, quite a bit of reversal patterns here. We have bullish divergence. That's lower high on the price action, but higher or equal highs on the RSI. And then we're seeing that one more time on the RSI, slightly equal or lower low here. And then we have reversal patterns here again, okay? So quite a bit of reversal patterns signals on the hourly time frame. And let me also zoom out, okay? I think the next very relevant time frame we should be looking at here is the daily time frame, okay? As of yesterday's close, that was the Sunday night close here, okay, on the candle, we still had a very subtle higher low here, Okay, if you actually take a look, this is the chart here. Okay, 94.3, close. That is still a higher low comparing to this low right here. So in my opinion, okay, of course, in my opinion, and none of this is financial advice, if we keep this higher low, the next logical move is a higher high. It's a big if statement. Okay, that is how to. That's in my opinion how to trade in this market. If this happens, then I do this. If this happens, then I do this. But right now, we still do have a higher low, and if we keep that higher low, then the next logical move is a higher high. That is just the technical definition of an uptrend. Okay? So, this is basically what I'm seeing. Okay? We do have the daily 21 SMA coming up. That is currently about 91.5. The blue line here. That could be acting as support if the price action actually breaks down, of course, right? If this actually gets invalidated and we get a lower low here, then that is not going to be looking good for this pattern. Then the next level of support that's going to be coming up is the daily 21 SMA. Now, why am I talking about Bitcoin and why am I emphasizing on Bitcoin so much? It's because Bitcoin drives the entire crypto markets. If Bitcoin dumps, chances are your altcoins are going to be dumping as well. And if the altcoin is pumping while Bitcoin is dumping, I don't think that's going to last very long. Let's come over here to Total 3. Going to be talking about the pattern that I'm still paying attention to for Total 3. Right? That tells me, it's still looking very bullish on the altcoin markets as well as a whole. Total 3 is the altcoin market excluding Ethereum, and basically it has broken out of this falling wedge pattern. If you guys been on this channel, you guys know that I've been talking about this, okay? This breakout that has been happening. And this falling wedge pattern has been formed since end of January, right? A very strong downtrend since then, but we actually broke out of it. And the price target out of this breakout is just right underneath 1.1 trillion, which could still do some pretty significant pumps for these smaller altcoins. I'm sure you guys have seen in the past couple of days. All right, so let's take a look into stock markets. Also very important. Okay, so my thought process in looking at altcoins, it's going to be stock markets, Bitcoin, and then altcoins. Okay, because the stock market, if the stock market dumps, that could be very well a front-running signal for Bitcoin. Very high correlation between the two. And of course, if Bitcoin dumps, altcoins are going to dump. And ES1 exclamation mark, which is the S&P 500 mini futures. Currently still looking good. Broke out of this falling wedge pattern. Price target is about 5,800. Next real resistance I'm seeing here is going to be the daily 200 SMA, which is about 5,800. And on the hourly time frame, this still looks pretty good to me, right? It looks like it just bounced off this downtrend here, as it looks very similar to Bitcoin, with some bullish divergence on the hourly time frame. So this still looks pretty good to me. And coming from the stock market, I don't think I'm seeing any bearish signs here on the stock market right now. Now let's go ahead and go to Moonwell from one of my subscribers, technical analysis request. Let's go to Moonwell. I'm starting off with the chart here that has more data, which is basically KuCoin. Okay. I like to start with charts with more data because that tells me more. I know it could be, newly listed on exchanges recently, but use the chart that has more data. All right, let's come over here. It looks like we do have a falling wedge pattern that could be validated on the daily time frame. And that's because we're seeing we can actually get 3 candle touches on each of the trend lines. Right? So basically we have a falling wedge pattern. Price target out of this falling wedge pattern, it usually breaks to the upside. Of course, got to risk manage for a plan if it doesn't. Depending on where you enter the position or what your actual strategy is. Alright, let's just say if it breaks out at this point, okay? You have to estimate the breakout points because you don't know. And you adjust for the actual breakout when it happens. If and when. Price target is going to be about just right underneath 11 cents. Okay? That is the price target for Moonwell. Let's take a look into some shorter time frames and see what could be happening. Could this be a falling wedge as well? That is usually a very common pattern. So this is still a falling wedge with an exception of that huge wick there. This is the 4-hour time frame. Quite a bit of reversal patterns, indicators, signals on the RSI as well. What this is telling me is it actually got a pretty strong bounce on the RSI. And if this price action was to make an equal or lower low again, chances are there's going to be bullish divergence. And chances are when you get bullish divergence is that you're going to get a reversal or a bounce. Not 100%, but chances are. So that's basically what I'm seeing here on the shorter time frame, 4-hour time frame. Let's take a look into a short price target here. Price target, if the price action breaks out of this pattern that we have here, price target is going to be about 3.45 cents if it breaks out by this point. Or about 3.5 cents. Yeah, just right underneath 3.5 cents. Alright, that's basically what I'm seeing for Moonwell. Let's go ahead and take a look into the next crypto here, which is Fetch.AI or Kaspa. And this is coming from a subscriber, right? Moonwell. I know I can only do one of the cryptos you requested, but do keep commenting. I will pick another technical analysis request tomorrow. I have to give everyone a chance, and due to time constraints, I can only do one crypto analysis for you guys every day by request. Let's take a look into some top 100 cryptos. Let's take a look into Kaspa first. All right. Monthly time frame. All right. Not in overbought territory. That tells me it is not in high risk territory where it could be dumping soon. Weekly time frame. We have a falling wedge. Again, very common theme here. And broke out of this pattern a couple weeks back. And we are seeing a higher low from the breakout here. Okay. After it hits some resistance, the weekly 21 SMA, you gotta look out. You gotta be looking out for moving averages, because that could be either serving as support or resistance, depending if it's above the price action or below the price action. Now, price target out of this falling wedge pattern on the weekly time frame is going to be about 15 cents. Price action went up to as far as about 11 cents before it pulled back. Right now it's about 9 cents. So still got quite a bit of a target to go here for Kaspa. It is below the daily 200 SMA. Let's take a look into a shorter time frame. See if we can find any charts that could tell me what could be happening here. Right now, no. Right now, I'm basically seeing a potential rounded bottom, but it is not established. Okay? So something to be keeping in mind for Kaspa. On the higher time frame, that falling wedge breakout is still in play. Now, price targets are estimates only, okay? It could be more or less, but it's still a very good idea to kind of get an idea of where the price action could be going, right? Let's take a look into the hourly time frame. See if we can find anything on here to work with. This looks like a pattern. So it broke out of a smaller falling wedge here. Price target out of this very small pattern here is just going to be right underneath 10 cents. Still getting higher lows here on the hourly time frame, which is good. All right, let's go to Fetch.AI, FET, USD. Monthly time frame. We are not in overbought territory, so not high risk for a overbought dump. It is at the monthly 50 SMA as resistance. Weekly time frame, weekly 200 SMA, the orange line as resistance. Got a pretty strong bounce here on this weekly time frame. If you guys actually just look at the RSI. Okay, we have a big falling wedge pattern here. This could be validated on the daily time frame with the trend lines. Now, if you guys do want to learn how to trade, make sure you guys are charting these patterns on your own. Research these patterns. Don't just take my word for it. And just start charting on your own. And you will start to actually see these charts without having anyone to tell you. Right? And you just look at the chart and be able to actually just chart the pattern and see what's going on and be able to tell for yourself. Okay, and you can actually block out all the noise. A lot of the noise from the news, from what other people are saying, and just look at what's going on the chart, because at the end of the day, it's what's going on the chart that matters, right? As a trader. Let's take a look. All right. Huge pattern here. If it actually breaks out, estimated breakout point here, just as an estimate, it's going to be about $3.90, just short of $3.90 if we actually break out by this point. Of course, if it breaks out later, move the measurements along the top trend line. If it breaks out sooner, move it up. And if it breaks down, if this pattern breaks down, then chart and see what other pattern you can actually chart from this, because that could also happen. Alright, this basically wraps up my video for today. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great Monday.